What's up guys, Matt back again with another video, and this is the Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball EX Mystical Adventure, and in today's video, we'll be reviewing the entire set. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. Kicking off this underrated Kuji is the man himself. Well, not quite a man yet, but it's Goku, the main character of the Dragon Ball franchise. It was a given to expect Kid Goku in our first ever OG Dragon Ball Kuji. I mean, he's likely the first thing you think of when someone mentions the original series. Here in the US, OG Dragon Ball didn't release its dub until Dragon Ball Z was well into its run, so not a lot of people started or even watched the original Dragon Ball. But in Japan, it's huge. Its impact and significance are known widely throughout the East, and for good reason. Kid Goku with his original Turtle Hermit Gi and Nyoibu, aka the Power Pole, looks fantastic. You can tell they took a great amount of care to make sure Goku's face reflects the rounder and softer aesthetic of characters back in Toriyama's early days. They also made his hair sculpt look pretty big, which fits his younger version a lot. I'm a big fan of the pose too, because he's very dynamic with the pole extending outwards. He's got some very nice texturing on his gi and tail, with lots of bright colors and shading all throughout. I do feel that the newer Turtle Hermit Kuji Gokus on his King-To-Un, aka the Nimbus Cloud, are the superior Kid Goku figures in the market nowadays, but this one is still a great pickup. Not to mention, Goku along with a majority of this Ichiban Kuji is extremely affordable. Whether you're a fan of the original Dragon Ball or not, I'd say having Kid Goku with his Nyoibu is a must-have, especially at this level of quality. Arguably the biggest and most significant villain in all of OG Dragon Ball is Piccolo Daimao. Piccolo felt like the first true threat to a widespread amount of the cast, as his minions were able to not only defeat Goku at times, but also murder Krillin and plenty of former Budokai Tenkaichi fighters. Piccolo then dunked on Goku before proceeding to kill two more of his closest friends to make a wish on Shenron. Oh yeah, and he kills Shenron too. How awesome is that for a villain? Piccolo, as we know him today, is already one of my favorite characters, but I'm glad Bandai recognized his origins with this wonderful figure. His likeness is pretty good. He definitely captures that older aesthetic that Piccolo had back in OG Dragon Ball, with a very colorful look as he's cackling from his villainous victory. The colors on this Piccolo are also very well done, as you can see notable shading all over his gi. Something I did notice that was a bit off though seems to be the pink textures on his arms. Piccolo is missing pink textures on the inner parts of his forearms. It's not a big deal, but definitely a small error that experts will pick up on as a mistake. Piccolo is a big figure too, coming in at 10.5 inches, which is slightly larger than your typical Masterlies. Honestly, the figure feels bigger than that at times due to his imposing pose. Much like Goku, even if you didn't watch the original Dragon Ball, I think having Piccolo in his former iteration as a villain is a must-have, and he's one of the coolest Masterlies figures they've made so far. The mercenary and first villain to ever defeat Goku in a fight enters the Masterlies collection. Tao Pai Pai has to be my favorite figure in this set, including his last one prize version, which will be discussed towards the end of the video. Not many think of or remember Tao Pai Pai, but those that do can recall his awesome moments like the Dodonpa, using a pillar to travel across the world, and even killing General Blue with his tongue. This character, along with pretty much the entire Ichiban Kuji, consists of some of the best choices of characters to represent early Dragon Ball in a holistic way. Tao's face is done spectacularly with plenty of details and emotions to make him come to life. Varuk, the sculptor behind GX Materia, is also the sculptor for this Tao Pai Pai, which makes a lot of sense as to why his face was done so well. The figure is also the brightest in the set due to his saturated pink gi, but also paid plenty of attention to add dynamic shading all over him. His pose makes him a little shorter at 7 inches, but that doesn't mean he won't scale properly with your collection. Quite the opposite, in fact. His gi blowing in the wind behind him from his Dodonpa attack actually makes him a bit wider for space, so keep that in mind when displaying. There's not much more to say about Tao Pai Pai other than him being an absolutely fantastic figure and my personal favorite from this entire set. Pilaf is one of those characters that you might think of as a total gag character. I mean, he is, but he was technically the big villain of Dragon Ball's first major arc. Pilaf nearly got away with wishing for world domination with Shenron if it weren't for Oolong's quick thinking. Pilaf is an amazing inclusion not only for his legacy in early Dragon Ball, but also for still being relevant as the Pilaf gang is featured for gags in Dragon Ball Super. This figure nails everything Pilaf should be in a figure. His menacing yet goofy expression is depicted perfectly and captures that Toriyama spirit with its art style. The figure is painted with traditional matte-styled painting with plenty of shading throughout. He's definitely small for a Masterlies figure, but feels worth his asking price as he scales with other Dragon Ball figures and even comes with his own set of Dragon Balls on a patch of grass. They made the Dragon Balls beautiful by making them translucent. Pilaf isn't something anyone is going to be begging for, but it's always nice to have these smaller characters, no pun intended, included within Ichiban Kuji. If you have Pilaf in your Kuji, then you almost certainly need to include his right-hand fox and woman, Shu and Mai. Shu and Mai aren't the most important characters in Dragon Ball, but like Pilaf, have remained relevant in their younger forms within Dragon Ball Super. Mai even got a redesigned future variant that becomes somewhat of a love interest for Trunks. One of my biggest gripes of these figures is the fact that they didn't just group them together with Pilaf. I think it would have been a guaranteed sale for all of them, but because Pilaf is separated from them, I'd expect Pilaf to get the majority of the sales, being the main member of the group. Regardless, I'm still happy these two were grouped together and included in this Kuji. Both figures are pretty simple and straightforward in their execution, but shine in their simplicity. Shu's face looks really charming, and Mai is one of the better looking female Dragon Ball characters within Masterlies. Shu doesn't include a support, which does strike me as odd, but neither of them really require one to stand up. I'm happy I have these in my collection and would recommend grouping them with Pilaf if you consider picking them up. Tao Pai Pai gets another prize in this Kuji as the last one prize. I'll try to keep this brief as a lot of my thoughts on the regular Tao Pai Pai apply to his cyborg version. I've said in previous videos that I'm not too bothered by recycling figures if you used them to create a new form or character with it. Cyborg Tao is one of the best examples of taking a fantastic character or sculpt especially a rare one like Tao Pai Pai, and creating something new and awesome with it. Cyborg Tao's presence in the show was brief and quickly closed by Ten Shinhan in the Tenkaichi Budokai, unless you count the filler with Gohan before the Cell games. But I think that deep cut choice for this Kuji makes this even better of a pick. He's amazing, and the small differences between his head sculpt and hands makes him almost feel like a brand new figure compared to the regular prize in this set. So those are my thoughts on Dragon Ball EX Mystical Adventure. I think this Kuji is incredibly slept on. Most people really aren't bothered to pick this up, at least here in the West, mostly because we didn't grow up first with OG Dragon Ball. A lot of us experienced Dragon Ball Z before we saw Kid Goku. So with all that being said, it's not very popular, and I wouldn't even say that it's a crazy Ichiban Kuji set like some of the best, but I do think it is fantastic and heavily slept on. If you're a fan of OG Dragon Ball, Kid Goku, Piccolo, the Pilaf gang, or Tao Pai Pai in the Red Ribbon arc, I highly recommend at least picking one of these up in the near future for their small prices. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Please, if you want to become a member today and join in our upcoming monthly giveaway, we're going to be giving away a few Crane figures, Master Release figures, and Ichiban Kuji. So please consider becoming a member, hopping into the Discord server, and take part in the fun. Of course, thank you to all my members once again for going above and beyond to support the channel, but thank all of you for watching and getting all the way up to the end of this episode. If you got this far in the episode, please leave a like, drop a comment down below. Tell me your favorite figure in this set. What would you do as a future OG Dragon Ball set? We're starting to get more and more. Really loving that. And I hope Bandai hears some of this feedback, or at least understand how these sales work and what we're trying to message to them as a hobby, as enthusiasts, so that we can get bigger and better figures as time moves on. But thank you so much for watching. I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video. But until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.